Hi everybody! Today I have with me Kyla Tustin, the magnificent, awesome, wonderful Kyla Tustin. And recently I saw in the news and in some videos that friendships, people aren't having as deep of friendships anymore. Friendships are kind of falling apart. And I think the division in the world might have something to do with it. Yeah. But today I really wanted to talk about, we have a great friendship that I really, really love and appreciate so much. And it's just been such a joy in my life. And I can't imagine people not having this type of joy in their lives where you have such beautiful, deep friendships that last for years and you just evolve and love each other through the evolutions, and the love and respect for each other grows deeper, which is just so beautiful. So I wanted to talk about how to create this friendship.
Yeah.
Where do you think we should start? Obviously there's like the getting to know each other part.
Yes.
I think me and Nat were talking about this the other day, and he was like, how did you get connected? And I was like, I think Kyla actually messaged me. Maybe I posted something on Facebook or...
It was through Sorrel.
Okay, no, through Sorrel, that's right. And then we lost touch. And then, so we did some healing sessions. We talked about marketing initially.
Yep.
And then we lost touch for a few years.
Yes, because I moved to New York.
Yeah. And then you were back. And I think you just popped up in my messages. And then we decided to meet at Manly.
Because I think you were going through your separation.
Yes. And you had been through one.
I had been through one.
Yes.
And so, I think, and then I was like, hey. And then the magic just continued to evolve. Yeah. And I think if there's that in it, is that obviously we had some synchronicity in our pathways and what was going on at that moment in time. And I think there is a big belief that at later years you can't make new friendships. And I am an advocate for saying, let's call bullshit on that. Actually greater friendships, because you know more of who you are, but also who you're inviting in. I'd say the number one thing is prioritizing it. So just from a time perspective, like I really prioritize and value my connections and friendships, and over the years now I with the gypsy life moved away and things like that, but I think it's like when you're together, even like really prioritizing the presence of being with that person. And that's a big one, because I see a lot in clients' lives, especially when kids come in, that it's like there's not time. And yet, like one of the greatest things that we can do for our whole entire lives, our relationships, our intimate relationships, is to actually prioritize that socialization, the friendship time, and those relationships of the people that do just know you. And that like place of ease that you can go in. Like I have a client that I was talking to this week that's going through a lot, and the passing of her auntie, who was a bit like a mum to her, and she said, I don't have the capacity to go catch up with friends. And I just mentioned, well, what if there must be one that when you walk away from that, you feel a little bit juiced up? And she said, yep, there's one, and she's been reaching out. And I was like, I really like what could come from actually you prioritizing that. And I think that, like over the last few years with isolation and everything, people seem to have a little bit more social anxiety. But then it's
and
like
the internet as well, and I find like people don't pick up the phone anymore and have conversations.
Totally. And people I've heard, they say, if you call me, I won't answer. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, really? And I think so. It's probably also like acknowledging people's busy lives and things. But I think like you always make time for the things that you prioritize, but you know are your highest values. And I think having set time scheduled to go and visit people, to have like, I see some of the men that I coach, they have like set boys weekends or men's weekends, we'll call them. Even if it's once a year, they have a camping trip or something like that. Prioritize so that you know that there's this time coming where you can just be yourself and be in that place of just like expressing yourself in that relationship and whatever it looks like. But I think similar to like in the intimate loving relationships that we talked about, like starting to, if you are looking for new friendships, it's like, well, what are some hobbies that you might love to do that you could then meet people that are aligned to that?
Yeah.
Because I have so many wonderful new friendships in my life because my life has changed so much because of my interests. And I think putting yourself out there into the environments of like, new hobbies and things to meet aligned people can be a great place to start. And I always get teased, but it's one of the greatest things that worked for me is like asking people to be my friend. I'm like, will you be my friend? And like, most people are seeking friendship and connection. And so, but there is an uncomfortableness of the fear of rejection that comes in with that. But being willing to put yourself out there because you just have no idea what magic will come from that and the relationships that will be built. But I also think a big part is like the unconditional love of each other, of accepting differences, differing of opinions, being able to have conversations, like you said, about the divisiveness, and for the friendships part, not always taking things personally.
I think that's a big one.
It's a big one.
Yeah, because we all go through stages. I know that I was very in my ego at one stage in our relationship, and I felt like I distanced myself. But now, when I've I watched a video recently that showed me where this woman was telling about how she would make friends, and then as soon as she got too close to people, she would distance herself as well, especially in friend groups. Like as soon as she got too close to like being in the center of the friend group, she'd move out to the outskirts because she didn't want to be like in it was too overwhelming, like the responsibility of being too close to people. And I felt that deeply, like whether it was like I don't feel good enough, I don't feel worthy, or just I don't have the capacity for what it takes to build deep friendships. I felt that as well. So,
and if you think about like the family histories that we all have, if we have been overly responsible, then we think that that's going to happen in our friendships as well. So there is, it's like use that word of like, I don't have capacity for this today. And it's also okay to say to friends, I don't have capacity for this right now, or I'm noticing the part of me that like feels like responsible for things, or whatever that might be. And that then obviously requires probably similar levels of communication and openness in that scenario. But knowing that our friendships, like any relationship, are going to bring up as much as other relationships as well.
Definitely.
And I think it is. It's like looking at that and the distance. And I think also, like, I have so many wonderful friendships that like friends know that like I prioritize presence, which also means that if you're not around me, that can be quite like isolating in a way. And so I've had to become aware of that over the years as well with friendships, but then people knowing and understanding that like my love is still there. And if anyone ever needs anything, they can pick up the phone or anything like that. But it's like knowing yourself enough to know yourself in friendship and relationship, and then letting other people know that as well, because I too have loads of friendships like that, that then I'm like, am I important? When like there's space, right?
But I think what I love about our friendship is that we can not talk for ages, but when we're on the phone and we do regular check-ins, but some of them are further apart than others. And it's just like, oh, what have you been up to? And we're just like, we both understand that we are living our lives and doing our things, and it's just such a privilege to be able to check in and just have a conversation and see how we are. And that doesn't change anything about the friendship.
No.
And similarly, we have a friend living with us right now that's going through a breakup, and her emotional stuff, I've realized I don't have to take that on, but I can be a support for her. And just give her space when she needs space. I don't have to be super involved in whatever she's going through, but she just needs a safe space right now. So it doesn't have to be, friendship doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming responsibility of another person on your shoulders. It can just be presence. It can be, support. It can be that special safe space that you have with each other.
Because it's actually disempowering for that other person. That I realised in my life, like when the rescuer would come in, it's like, well, what I'm saying is that person can't handle that moment in time, or like I'm going to get validation from coming in and stepping in and saving the day. As opposed to I'm going to like observe and witness what you're going through. If you need anything, I'm here. And I'm going to have playful art nights and things to actually like just make things a little bit better right now. But that's from that place of joy and play. And I think the dynamics of friendships and knowing that there's so many, like I know that it's cliche, but there really is reasons, seasons and lifetimes. And that, especially with the lifetime friendships, like what I've seen within mine is that I've changed a lot. And they've kind of had to go through this roller coaster of like, where is she this month? And I had to acknowledge that I was the one that kept changing the dance. And that there needs to be a stabilization of that, because not everybody is on such a big trajectory of growth in their lives and change. And obviously I've traveled a lot and everything like that, so I knew that wherever I go, when I come back, it actually is my priority to reconnect with everybody. And to do that, because I'm the one that always leaves. And so I think knowing where you are within friendships, because otherwise I could sit there going, what about me? But I'm like, I want to play. And I think that for me, the discomfort, especially coming out of a long-term relationship, I needed to invite myself places. And sometimes people have said, Kyla, you can't come to this 40th birthday. It's actually a sit-down dinner. And then other friends are like, let me call them and check if you can come to their birthday. I'm like, thank you. And there is. And I think my family history of traveling so much as a kid from New Zealand to Hong Kong and starting different schools probably allowed that in me, but there's still fear of rejection that comes with it, and vulnerability that comes with it. And it'd be so much easier just to sit on my couch and sing What About Me? And go into kind of that, oh, poor me. But I'm like, no, like what do I need right now? But then friends also knowing that they can say no to me. That's
what creates safety within a relationship, knowing that people can say no, and then you actually feel safe in your nervous system, knowing that they're not putting themselves on for you. And that's a really important thing within a relationship, to create safety and deeper connection.
Totally. So I'd say healthy relationships, a healthy friendship with yourself is important. Prioritizing friendship, and then meeting people where they're at, having clear expectations even around what friendships look like healthy ways, of knowing that it can be months between talking, and that in itself is like an unspoken one, right? And then we come back together, and knowing that that's completely okay on both sides. And being clear on what you want for the friendships, but also being okay, with those reason friendships of that you might have friends that are super fun to go out partying and dancing with, and then you might have your woo-woo deep spiritual friends, and then you might have ones that love all of that, or you might have your clay pottery friends, or your quilting friends, or whatever that might be. But also meeting everyone where they're at with that as well, because over the years, I know that there is some friendships that I love going out and going dancing with, but they may not be the people that I go to when I'm going through things, and that's okay too. So I think accepting where each person is at and where that friendship is at, and not expecting everything from each individual.
That's really important. I love that. Anything else?
No, we're going to be very concise today. I can't even say the word.
Okay, we'll leave it at that then. Unhealthy relationships and friendships. Thank you so much for being here and for doing the videos with us. And obviously check out Kyla's website as well, which I'll pop down below. And
one final thing. Have fun and play with friends. Don't forget to play. I think life's become too serious. And so prioritizing play with your friends as a really important part.
Definitely.
Okay, now I'm done.
Yeah, and if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, make sure you leave a comment below. Let us know what kind of stood out for you, if this has made you have like an aha moment or anything. Is there anything that you would like to add to it on having beautiful friendships that we've not included in this video and you would like others in this community to be aware of? Then pop it down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.
Over and out.
Stay wild. Bye.
I love that we both have our
Yeah.